Good morning and welcome to the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips, President of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce, and this is your business report for Palm Coast and Flagler County, brought to you by Smart Technologies, and we are very fortunate to have one of our guests today, Bob Doucette with Smart Technologies. Bob, thanks for joining us today on the show, and thanks for your support of our program.
You're welcome. Good morning.
We are glad to have you. I've got my sidekick, Kelsey Lombard, my co-host for the show, with us as well. Kelsey, good morning.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
And then our special guest today is Monica Garcia with Monica Clean. And it's not just clean until it's Monica Clean. That's right. So, Monica, thanks for joining us. Look forward to learning more about you, your business, and sharing some stories and ideas and information today with our listeners.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your background, which is a unique background, and I know it, so these questions might seem kind of odd. You're like, hey, you know this stuff, but our listeners don't. So tell our folks a little bit about you and how you ended up here in Flagler County, because there's a lot of steps along the way.
Oh, yeah. So I was actually born in South America. English is my second language. I came to the U.S. I actually ended up in New Jersey. I think I was about that's a lie. Somewhere between 5 and 7 when I got here. I have some memory blocks that are there for a reason. And moved to Florida when I was about 10. And then I grew up in Miami. I went to high school in Miami. I was in foster care from the time that I was a young child. And I left foster care when I was in college and went out on my own. I moved to Volusia County when my daughter was like 1. And I had a lot of odd jobs here and there. And I was a correctional officer in Volusia County. And then we ended up in Flagler County.
And in between, in addition to being a correctional officer,
Yes.
You also played professional football for a little bit.
Women's professional football with the IWFL. Yes, I did.
So just to talk about somebody who is a small business owner,
Yes.
Which is really what our focus is. It's not about football or law enforcement. But I just think it's really, really unique that nobody's story is done being written. Your story is evolving every single day. And in your case, from South America to the United States, through foster care, to law enforcement, to professional football, to small business owner. Everybody's story is different and unique. Yours is very unique.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes you so special.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Let's talk about starting that small business, because
Okay.
I know that story a little bit, but how did it all come about? And again, Monica Clean is a cleaning service. We've got five employees, correct?
3.
3 employees, okay? 3
Looking
employees.
for a 4th.
Looking for a 4th. So here's an advertisement. If you're looking, find Monica Cleans. You might have a spot for you. But you started out as a very small business and has evolved into something more than just you, obviously, with 3 employees and hopefully a 4th coming on board here real soon.
Yeah. So actually, I kind of started my business out of air quotes desperation. I was working I loved the job that I had. I was a leak detector. Loved the job. It was finding leaks. So every day was a different investigation. Mm-hmm. So it was like my law enforcement background. And I loved it. The culture there fell apart a little bit. So I fell out of love with the position. And I have a friend who owns a cleaning service. And I called her and I asked, hey, if I give my notice, can I come work for you? And she said, do you want to be on the schedule today? I was like, no, I actually would like to give a notice, but thank you. And she said, absolutely. I started working for her, and I lived in Volusia County at the time. I lived in Port Orange. And I cleaned for her, I want to say for a year and a half maybe. And then we moved to Flagler County, purchased our home in Flagler County. And it was right as we were getting shut down.
And shut down for COVID.
For COVID,
Yeah.
yes. So
Seems like years and years ago, but it's
I
not that
know,
long.
it seems like so long ago. And I just realized we just had our 4th birthday. That was not a long time ago. So when I moved up here, my friend, she said, you're going to hate your life driving from Bunnell, Florida, or Palm Coast all the way to like Edgewater and New Smyrna, Florida to do cleanings. And I was like, no, I love this job. Neither one of us knew what we were doing, really, running a business. She's obviously developed and come a long way. And she said, why don't you just start your own thing? And I told her, I was like, well, I agreed when you hired me that I wouldn't do that. And she said, but I don't go to Flagler County, and I'm the one telling you to do it, and I'll help you. And I was like, all right, let's do it. But it was a situation where I was like, I wouldn't even know what to call my business. And she said, well, when my clients call, they request you and they say, can you please send Monica because I want my house Monica clean. So I said, well, I do love the show Friends. So, hey, let's name it Monica Clean. So it's not just clean, it's Monica Clean.
And that's how it all started.
Yep.
A little bit over 4 years ago. You just celebrated your 4th anniversary as an entrepreneur and a business owner, correct?
Yep, May 21st.
All right. Fantastic. Well, it's a great story, and everybody's got a story of starting their small business. Bob's got a small business. It's a little bit older than 4 years, Smart Technologies, but you have an anniversary as well, Bob. What's the Smart Technologies 20? Is it the big 25th anniversary?
Is it silver?
That's the one.
Silver interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, June 10th.
Okay. So coming up here real soon.
Yeah.
No.
And as 4 years, 25 years seems to be a blink. As you work. But everybody has a story, correct?
Yeah.
I think God created us that way to tell our story. And
Let's tell the Smart Technology story just a little bit. How did it start 25 years ago? And obviously your business, this could be a whole nother show. Your business has clearly evolved because you're in the technology business. Technology 25 years ago versus technology today is vastly different. And it might have been a fax machine 25 years ago. That was a high-end piece of technology, right?
Yeah. Fax was how we communicated, right? Quick and fast with the fax. We started in 2000, and if we all remember Y2K,
Oh, yeah.
all our data was going to disappear, right, at the stroke of midnight. And we were all getting prepared for that. And that's when I kind of realized, data is king for business. If you don't have good data, you don't have a good business because you're guessing, and you can't manage what you can't measure. So with that, we jumped into the copier business because back then, data was being communicated through paper. It was distributed, and we became a Ricoh copier dealer. Our business opened up. Our first 3 customers was International Speedway Corporation. The next one was Brown & Brown Insurance. And then if you remember Hawaiian Tropic.
Sure do. Ron Rice and the startup of Hawaiian Tropic back in the day.
Yeah, so we were blessed.
You had three of the biggest in Volusia County.
Yeah, and we were off to the races.
Yeah.
And our focus was really how to capture the data that's coming off the paper. So our focus was, not to copy it and distribute it, but to capture it and route it. And today, what we see, a lot of organizations, they're still using their copier as a copier versus as a scanning. And what we're seeing our clients are moving towards, believe it or not, a copier company coming in and saying, hey, how can we help you stop copying? They're now moving more into scanning. So it's more about how can we capture that information. Most of our customers are doing more scanning than they are copying today.
That's what we were doing before you came along for us as well. I think even with our printer now, we can staple things and all kinds of cool things that your printers do for us. So it's very helpful.
Copy, scan, email,
Yeah.
fax, if somebody still has one of them, all
wow.
all the above. And then obviously your business has evolved into, again, it's all about data, whether it's, in the forward-looking technology of AI and using AI to manage data and manage information so that we're not recreating things over and over and over again.
If you look at AI, we've been through this, right? Y2K, we were worried about data. And then the next big challenge we had was there's no way I'm going to put my information in the cloud. We're not doing that. And today, what we see is 78% of software is in the cloud.
Yeah. I think the key to any business, even in your business, and I'd love to see how your business has evolved over 4 years, is evolution. Your business clearly in technology has evolved over your 25-year lifespan of smart technologies. Your business only 4 years old, but I'm sure it's evolved as well. Not necessarily the cleaning, although cleaning has evolved as well, but how you manage your people, whether it's
absolutely.
the payroll and the data, scheduling your customers,
Oh, yes.
all the intricacies that you don't think about. If someone just thinks about a cleaning business, okay, I'm cleaning things up, I'm wiping this down, and now it's clean. Yes, that's one small part of it, but the business of Monica Clean is evolved over those 4 years.
Cleaning is a minimal part of it. Cleaning is absolutely just what we do, but behind the scenes, before we get to wipe your counters, there's so much that comes to. So like Bob says, the growth and the change, I started Google Calendars. I was using Google Calendars, and in order to let my clients know that I was going to be there tomorrow, it was a physical me picking up the phone and calling every client or texting every client, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow at 9. And that's very taxing on your time. And once you start growing a business, you realize, wait a minute, why am I taking so long to do all this work when it's basically the who, not how? And sometimes who is a piece of technology. So then we evolved into actually using a real life CRM. And so it was
now you
automated.
get cool text messages that tell you, we'll be there for you.
Yeah. So now, like, all of our communication is automated with our clients. 3 days before their appointment, they get an email. The day before, they get a text message. So there is really a very small window where you can miss your cleaning.
Yeah, and again,
That's dynamite.
efficiency and use of technology, which is essentially the core business of what Bob and his people do at Smart
Yeah.
Technologies. But again, for every business, it's all about efficiency and technology to make things work smarter, not harder. Whether it's using AI, using scheduling software, using tools of automation, text, email, chat, feedback about a cleaning product or a cleaning service,
Yeah.
whether it was good or bad, customers need to let you know that, or an adjustment to their calendar. I'm on vacation. I'd like to schedule next week instead of this week. Whatever those things are, it's all about running your business efficiently so that you can do the manual things. There's only so much time in the week to do that.
Exactly.
And the technology allows you to do that.
I don't know if you looked at the Gallup poll. It just came out in April, but 79% of the workers are not engaged in their work. And I think that's got a lot to do with we are running at the speed of digital, but we're not putting our processes in place that will allow the people to do what they're hired to do and let the technology do what that it can do. And that's where we come into play. We come in.
Our processes are still very analog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the expectations is I wanted it yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. We all want immediate gratification.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. This is the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips. I've got Kelsey Lombard from the Chamber, and our guests today are Bob Doucette with Smart Technologies and Monica Garcia with Monica Clean. We're going to talk about technology and about how the Chamber of Commerce can help connect you with technology and other resources to help make your business better, stronger, faster, and more efficient. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips, president of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce. I want to say thanks again to Bob Doucette of Smart Technologies, one of our key sponsors of this show, along with Klein Construction, Intercoastal Bank, and Katz and Green, help supporting our Chamber Business Report radio show here on WNZF. Our guest in studio is Monica Garcia, also Bob Doucette from Smart Technologies, as mentioned previously. And of course, my co-host is Kelsey Lombard from the Chamber. And we're talking about technology today and how technology can make your business more efficient and do more with less. In our case, maybe Bob at the Chamber, we're trying to do more with less because there's only two of us. The entire Chamber staff is in the room right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we have worked together with your partnership from Smart Technologies to help impact our business at the Chamber and how we can be as efficient as we are with just 2 employees.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. we can say, because we started off with just simply, hey, we need a copier, right? And then we went in from there to how do we capture the information from the copier to move it into your CRM, which John and y'all've kind of really taken that to another level where communication is coming out a lot better to the members. Matter of fact, it's probably doing it right now while you're doing the show.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use Growth Zone as a chamber CRM, but virtually every business has got a CRM, a customer relationship management system, your database, your customer membership list, whatever type of business you are. The term CRM is pretty universal. Everybody's got a customer list of who their customers are and what you do with them. But how you leverage technology to be efficient is the key to that success. And I think that's what you did for us, Bob. And I think that's what smart technologies can do for virtually any business. We needed a copier. You helped leverage us and say, but you can also do this and do this and do this. You were our consultant that helped us grow our business through technology. And whether it's the chamber or Monica's business or a local hotel, restaurant, whatever those businesses might be, technology through smart technologies can help leverage to be more efficient.
So true. I mean, if you really look at business processes, there's three pieces to it. The first one is your devices, right? How do we capture? How do we have output? Our phones, all those good things of how we communicate information. The next is your technology. How are you leveraging your technology, like your CRM, your finances, QuickBooks, those things. But here's the big piece. If you don't integrate it, then people become middleware, where they're taking data and moving data from one point, like a CRM, over to QuickBooks. If you can integrate that to where those devices technology is working together, now it's taking the work off of people, and people are focused on the outcomes of the business, the purpose of the business, versus sitting there being middleware of connecting data.
Yeah, if people are focused on processes, the people aren't out building relationships. In the chamber business, that's really how it works.
It is,
we
right.
need to build relationships. And virtually every
Same.
business is based on relationships.
Exactly.
If you're doing manual data entry, whether you type it here, print it out, and then type it here a second time, you're just being inefficient. And what you need to be doing is leveraging technology to be your best resource and one of your key tools in your toolbox.
And Monica, it's a small business, but it's a big business when you start leveraging that technology.
If I didn't have the technology that I have to help my small business, I would not be here today. I would never be at any meetings. I would not be able to see my clients. Every now and then I'll take a client to lunch or something like that. I wouldn't have time for that. And those are relationships that I want to foster.
Let's talk about fostering relationships. And you mentioned, before we came on the air, about how you've used the chamber, and the chamber has helped you grow your business.
Absolutely.
And you even made one comment. You said, "I didn't even know what the chamber was when I first started." So tell us about that and how we got connected. We being not me, but we, the chamber, and Monica Clean, and how the chamber has helped you with your business.
So I honestly, when I started my business, I've heard of the chamber before because I worked at a company who would go to chamber events. But what's a chamber event? If you don't tell me what a chamber event, I don't know. So when I got to Flagler County, I started networking, just guidance from coaches and people like, hey, there's this networking meeting. And then I met at the time the CEO of the chamber, and I started researching, okay, what does the chamber do for businesses? I started showing up at ribbon cuttings and business after hours, and eventually it was like, hey, you're always around. And then I met some people. I was nominated for, at the time, they had a small business scholarship. I think there was about 10 of us who got the scholarship, and it wasn't a monetary scholarship. It was a membership scholarship they had at the time.
Nice.
So,
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that was the small, and I took that and I was like, this is a gift, and I rode that. I showed up to everything. I volunteered for everything. I'm like, I was given this opportunity, and at the time, my business was so young. I don't even remember what the small membership was. It was only like a couple $100, and I was like, we don't have that right now. So that scholarship helped me so much. And I started growing my business because whenever another client would go to the chamber and said, hey, do you have anyone that you recommend for something? Well, they would, the chamber would always give 3 names, if they had 3 names. But I was the one showing up. And I was the one that people were like, oh, I saw you at my ribbon cutting. Oh, I saw you at my friend's thing. And so I started growing, and it was like, wait a minute, this chamber thing is legit. So some of the people that I was meeting at these networking events, I thought were chamber employees. Turns out they're ambassadors. So they're volunteers. And all of the information that I was getting, and I said, okay, so how do I get one of those volunteer name tags? And I was just so grateful for the growth. It wasn't like, $10,000 growth, but it was growth, and it was good growth, and I loved it. And I felt the support of the ambassadors and the support of the chamber. So I just kept showing up.
Yep. That's half the battle right there. Just show up.
I just kept showing up, and then I started talking to people. People know, okay, cleaning is what you do, but who are you? Because people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And I was very uncomfortable in the beginning talking about some of the services that we do, like our cleaning for a reason. We do free cleanings for cancer patients because I didn't want a pat on the back. That's not something that I wanted to advertise. And then I had a business coach say, why? How are you going to get the word out to people who need it if you don't talk about it? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's one of the clues, So telling people, like, if you have a friend or family member, nominate them. And people started getting to know me, and they're like, oh, I want to know who you are. So just showing up to these chamber events and going to these after hours and these ribbon cuttings absolutely, like, just exposed me to so many leads and potentials. And I was like, you know what? I'm staying. Yeah, and I don't think they're getting rid of me.
Yeah,
now you're the ultimate ambassador, so I thank you for that and showing up.
Chamber membership, in reality, chamber membership, you get out of it what you put into it. And what you put into it is just your time. Yeah. If you show up to events, ribbon cuttings, after hours,
it is
educational events, it's
a
partnership.
Commerce, right? And that's when people get together, and it's business helping business. If you're fulfilling your purpose, you're helping somebody else.
Yes.
And that's if you don't show up for the meeting, you're not part of it.
Who's going to know who you are or what you are? What about you?
Especially with a small business, because you've got to get started somehow, because you're in year 4. I can't wait to see what you look like in year 25 when your smart technologies on your silver anniversary.
You got to give back.
You got to be engaged, you got to connect with people. And I think what you said, and I've heard it before, people do business with those that they know, like, and trust.
And we're in people's homes.
Especially in your business. Oh, you know what, though? It's especially in his business, too, because Bob and his company have access to your data.
Exactly.
And so that trust word is really, really critical. Your trust and your trust are different, but they're incredibly critical to the success of your business.
And we need trust.
A lot of people are worried about what AI is going to do to us, right? People, and that really boils right back down to, hey, it's relationships. It's having trust, and I don't think AI can do that.
Right.
Exactly right.
At least today.
Well, we are almost out of time here. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about an upcoming chamber event on June 20th, our Business and Entrepreneur Conference. It's being held at the Flagler Auditorium right there at Flagler Palm Coast High School. We've got 3 outstanding speakers that are going to be part of that. It's a action-packed morning. Again, June 20th at the Flagler Auditorium. You can go to the chamber website, pcfchamber.com, to get more information. We've got Coach Steve Ritter from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, who is the men's basketball coach and a great culture builder. We're not going to talk about basketball with Coach Ritter. We're going to talk about building an amazing culture and about leadership. We also have Remy Chukwunyere, and I have learned how to pronounce his name. He's coming to us all the way from Africa, and he is an amazing business leader as well. His story is way too long for me to try to describe on the radio, but come and be part of it. And then the third speaker you've probably heard of, but you might not know his real story, Sheriff Rick Staley before he became the sheriff, he started his own security company and grew to a $3.5 million annually company with, I believe, about 120 employees before he sold it and got back into community service and became sheriff of Flagler County. So he is a true entrepreneur before he became sheriff of Flagler County. He's going to be our final speaker that day. So June 20th, Flagler Auditorium, the Chamber's Business and Entrepreneur Conference. Again, more information at the website, PCF, as in Palm Coast Flagler, PCFchamber.com. Thanks again to Smart Technologies, Katz and Green, Intercoastal Bank, and Klein Construction for being part of our broadcast today. Thanks for Bob Doucette for being here. Thanks to Monica for being part of it as well.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, and for my co-host, Kelsey Lombard, I'm John Phillips, president of the Chamber. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for the support here on WNZF.